Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here. Welcome back to another counter-side video. Alright, I just did a rearm guide. If you guys haven't checked that out and you're confused, you have questions about rearm, make sure you guys check that video out. I'll try to link it in the description below as well. But in this video, we're gonna compare the two Xiao Lins and give you guys my opinions, as at the end of the day it's just going to be my opinion and based on what information that I've gathered. Hopefully I can help you guys decide on which Xiao Lin you should be building. Now first things first, once you have built one of these Xiao Lin, you can't revert it. Alright, so once you have done building the Xiao Lin, you have rearmed your Xiao Lin, the only way for you to get the other version is to have another 110 Xiao Lin. Now that's going to be very costly for a lot of free-to-play players. If you are a whale, you know, you spend a lot of money in the game, you have plenty of Xiao Lins laying around, sure, that's not a big issue for you, you can just make both versions. But for most free-to-play players out there, more than likely you can only pick one. Alright, so between the Castrol Xiao Lin and the Nestkeeper Xiao Lin, so let's talk about the pros and cons of each of them, but of course we're going to need to look at their skills. So we're going to jump into the skill section, let's go. Now let's talk about the Castrol Xiao Lin, which is still a 4-star sniper unit. So the difference between this Xiao Lin and the other one is in terms of cost, right? So the cost for the other one is going to be more expensive at 5 cost. This one is 4 cost Xiao Lin, still same like a default Xiao Lin. And this one is still a sniper type. And this Xiao Lin unfortunately cannot hit air units. Alright, so as you can see, it's still a ground type and only ground attack. So let's have a look at the skills to hopefully understand what she can do. Leader skills, very important. As you can see, she gets attack speed by 15% for 9 seconds when you deploy her. And obviously she gets more HP as well. So it's going to be way harder to kill her with Kang right now. Alright, so obviously she gets more basic attack damage, and you can see her passive skill right here. If you guys are not aware, Xiao Lin deals damage based on her distance. So the further the distance from her, the more her basic attack damage increase. You can see increased basic attack damage by up to 20% depending on the distance between her and her target. But once you have this Xiao Lin, if you level up this skill to level 10, she will always get a damage plus 20% regardless of how near or how far the enemy is. So that's pretty cool. So special skill, they added the effect that she can stun max now. So if you hit E1s a lot, she can be used to counter E1 or Janus, or mostly just E1s as a mech in general, maybe Ifrit to a certain extent I guess. So 2-second stun is pretty good actually to be able to stun them, and sometimes you can even cancel their special skill if you're lucky. Stun usually can do that. And last but not least, the ultimate skill. Now as you can see, the ultimate skill, it doesn't get much but only increased in a little bit of damage and a bit of cooldown reduction. So this Xiao Lin is like an improved version. You can see it's just from a base Xiao Lin to a slightly improved Xiao Lin. Alright, more damage, still the same, still can't hit air. Will she get one-shotted by Kang? I am not sure. I would love to test that out, but I think she would still die to Kang if Kang has very good gears at level 110 as well. Because she is so similar to the previous Xiao Lin, this Xiao Lin is going to be much more sought after if you are looking for PvE focused contents. Now in PvE, I would say this Xiao Lin in general is going to be by far the better one. So let's talk about the other Xiao Lin, Nestkeeper Xiao Lin. Now Nestkeeper Xiao Lin, now you can see she can hit air units, which is very cool. Alright, so apparently the range slightly improved. So one thing to note, she gets way more HP. Now look at the comparison here, 46,000. The other Xiao Lin is 27,000. Alright, so in terms of attack, she gets a little bit reduced attack, being a tower version. She gets more defense, more HP. Alright, that's pretty cool that they ramp up those two things. She has reduction in hit, and for being a tower unit that's static, she gets 0 evasion, while Castrol Xiao Lin has a little bit of evasion. So that's something to note, very subtle differences right there. What makes this Xiao Lin strong is mostly PvP. Now in PvP, the Nestkeeper Xiao Lin is going to be superior. So let's have a look why. Number 1, decrease evasion by 15% for all enemy units on the battlefield for 20 seconds upon deployment. This is really good. Alright, to be able to decrease enemies evasion by 25% up to if you level 5 is huge. Alright, you deploy this enemy, this counters Nayubin to a certain extent. We know that Nayubin, Awakened Nayubin, counters tower units. But she counters back Awakened Nayubin because she reduced Nayubin's evasion, where most of the time Nayubin is going to rely on that. So as you can see, this skill sends a Falcon, inflict AoE damage, valid hits of 2. She has a passive skill, very cool actually. So what it does is generates a barrier around Xiao Lin by 20% of max HP when deployed. So this is going to make the tower Xiao Lin really tanky. One thing to keep in mind, level 10 skill haste plus 50% for 10 seconds if barrier is destroyed, not applicable if barrier is cancelled. So you can see how Nayubin sort of doesn't counter her to an extent. Nayubin removes her shield, her barrier, but when the barrier is destroyed, suddenly she gets so much skill haste plus 50%. So that's sort of like, she wants that. She wants to fight Nayubin to a certain extent. So very good in that case, right? Special skill, AoE damage, targets lose 15% of speed for 8 seconds. And then you can see targets lose 15% attack as well. So a little bit of debuff. And last but not least, the ultimate skill, Door Knocker FN Burst. Now this one is very good. This attack costs a rare blast, knocks enemies backwards, and it does an entire row of damage. It just destroys the entire lane. It destroys it because, you know, it shoots all the way to the ship, similar to how Mia works. So this is what makes this Xiao Lin so good in PvP. One thing that you want to know about the Nest Keeper Xiao Lin is, it feels like a lot of KR players have tested her and she's better with skill haste set. Alright, CDR set. CDR set is going to be much more beneficial to her. So that's something that you also want to take into consideration. Do you have spare skill haste sets for her, right? Because a lot of people build Xiao Lin, especially the default one, with either crit damage or attack speed. So suddenly now skill haste is going to be, I know a lot of people have some skill haste laying around, they can swap gears around, which is for sure a thing. But do you have spare skill haste to just give her exclusively, because you are still going to use some of your other awakened units as well? So that's something to keep in mind. So between a PvP focused unit and a PvE improved version, which one should you go for? I think the answer is pretty straightforward. If you care about PvP, this is the one you want to go for, which is a Nest Keeper Xiao Lin. Now if you care about PvE, the Kestrel Xiao Lin is still going to be superior. Now in my opinion, this is just going to be, you know, just my prediction going forward. I think for C players, I think building Kestrel Xiao Lin is going to be way safer. The problem with building the Nest Keeper Xiao Lin right now, as I can see, meta on C server moves very fast. Whether you like it or not, it just moves very rapidly. Like just a couple of weeks ago, we have like, you know, Replacer King meta come in, and then Amina gets buffed, and then we have Awakened Amy not like just barely 1 week ago, and now Rearm is here, boom, right? So meta here is moving very fast, very rapid. So I think if you actually rearm this Xiao Lin Nest Keeper version, she's gonna fall off meta sooner than later. Right? That's just how it works. In PvP, meta always changes, and there's going to be time when she's banned, and that's going to be hard as well. So you're getting less of the value of the investment compared to, in my opinion, the Kestrel Xiao Lin, where you can basically get more out of her, right? If you're investing in a unit, because putting up all these gold credits, all this amount of resources into getting back up 110 Xiao Lin is a lot. It's a lot of investment. You want to get back something, right? You want to be able to make sure that she's doing something for you. And if in PvE case, I don't think that she can provide a lot for a lot of players. So that's just how I look at it. At the end of the day, just do what makes you happy. If you think that climbing in PvP for the next 1 month or so is going to be something that you are looking forward to, then yes, go for the Nest Keeper Xiao Lin. But I think for a lot of players, even if you care a lot about PvP, she's not bad in PvP. The Kestrel Xiao Lin is slightly weaker than the Nest Keeper Xiao Lin, but she's not by way like a bad unit entirely. You can still use her for sure. I think she might actually be on par with Replacer Queen right now, or maybe even better to a certain extent. So that's something to keep in mind, because she's still a 4 cost, right? Replacer Queen is a 5 cost unit. Just look at your account and see where you struggle at most. If you're struggling in these new stages, chances are Kestrel Xiao Lin can help you. Alright, a lot of players, I believe a lot of players still struggle till die 48 to 50 till today. All of this, right? If you struggle in any of these, consider getting Kestrel Xiao Lin, right? Because she will help you definitely for sure. But yeah, hopefully this will help you guys decide overall. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys think I missed anything, let me know in the comment section below. As always, if you haven't already, subscribe, give this video a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.